would be proud of you, Warlock.
Where's my wavy gang at? If you're behind the cell door, let me hear you bang that. Let me hear ya. This is from a wavy gang though.
Man like Jimmy. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Yes, we are back looking at the Hardlight, and before we go any further with the review, I just want to go over a few of the perks just so you guys can get an idea of what we are working with. Okay, so looking at some of the perks for the Hardlight, it is a 600 round per minute auto rifle. It's got a magazine of 49, and just quickly going through some of the stats if you don't already know. So going from right to left, we have the composite stock, which improves its stability and its handling. We've got fundamentals, which is actually quite a good perk, which means that you can cycle between burn types. You can cycle between arc, solar and void. You've got alloy magazine, so basically when you empty your magazine you get faster reload. And then you've got my favorite barrel perk, which is polygon and rifling, which increases stability and drastically helps out with your recoil reduction. The main perk is volatile light. So rounds fired from this have no damage fall off, over penetrate targets and ricochet off hard surfaces. Projectile damage increases after bounce. Now looking at the catalyst, it just states that when upgraded to a masterwork, this weapon receives additional bonuses. Now the only thing that I can see visually is that it increases your stability to 100. However, it says 100, but the stability still remains a little bit off in my opinion. I mean, the screen shake is absolutely ridiculous. Now it does do a little bit more precision damage compared to some other auto rifles in this archetype, but the stability is nowhere near as stable as some of the other auto rifles that are out there. However, it does do more increased precision damage, so that is something. Okay, so the Hardlight, it is an auto rifle, so right off the bat it does not have much advantage over some of the other hard hitting weapons such as scouts and hand cannons and pulse rifles for that matter. Now the Hardlight, let's go through PvE. First and foremost, in PvE it is a bit of a useful weapon, mainly because of its perk, which is the fundamentals, which allows you to cycle through burn types. So if you're running on the Nightfall for example, and you've got match game on, or you're running some heroic strikes that have got enemies with multiple burn types as shields, then this weapon is useful. I'm not going to say it's OP, I'm not going to say it's effective, because once you strip their shields down, it takes a hell of a lot of the magazine to actually get rid of a combatant, especially yellow bars. Red bars it kind of chews through, but the signature perk, which allows projectile damage to double if it's bounced off a surface, is highly inconsistent, and that's in both PvE and PvP. Especially in PvE where you've got more opportunity to use this, it just seems very inconsistent. And along with the increased stability which is stated on the masterwork, there doesn't seem to be a lot of stability. I mean, the screen shake still persists, and it's still quite difficult to track targets due to the screen shake. However, for PvE it's not a bad option. Like I mentioned previously about the burn types, about match game, etc, it's not a bad option. But when we get down to it, ladies and gents, it is a auto rifle. There are better options out there, better legendary options out there to use over this weapon. Okay, now one of the joys of Destiny is taking a weapon like the Hardlight from a PvE environment and bringing it into a PvP environment. That is what makes the game so unique and enjoyable, because there's just a plethora of options for you to use in both situations. However, with regards to the Hardlight, I do not recommend you take this weapon into PvP. There's a number of reasons why. First and foremost, the screen shake. Like I mentioned previously, it still persists. It's still very jarring. It's very difficult to track your enemies, and it's very difficult to combat that along with flinch that you're taking from enemy fire. It states on the masterwork that it receives additional bonuses, but I've yet to find out what these bonuses are. The screen shake persists. The stability says it's 100 and it's definitely noticeable. There is an increase in stability, but it's just so inconsistent. I mean, the screen shake makes it very difficult to even shoot somebody who's in your crosshairs because it bounces around so much. And I thought with the introduction of the catalyst, that would be something that would have been removed or at least significantly lessened on the weapon, but it still persists. Secondly, it is an auto rifle, so by default it's not going to be competitive in the current meta. We all know right now that the current meta is hand cannon shotgun, and it has been like that for the most part from since D1 days. Auto rifles just don't have the best of times, and for that reason, being a 600 RPM auto rifle, it just doesn't compete with some of the other weapons out there. You'll get outgunned by pulse rifles, you'll get outgunned by hand cannons, and you'll also get outgunned by other auto rifles due to the screen shake and the stability on the weapon. Now, bouncing the ricochet rounds off the floor or off walls around the corner is a nice little gimmick, and it makes for some fun plays, but the chance of you actually doing this on a consistent basis is very, very, very low. There's times when I'm shooting people, I know they're behind the corner, I know they're crouching, they're holding the shotgun, and I'm shooting them and it's just ricocheting off the wall and doing 0 damage. There's no clear way of being able to do this with any consistent basis, and that is quite frustrating, as it's one of the main perks on the weapon, and it is a fun weapon, but the fact that you can't do this consistently just makes this weapon a bit meh, to be honest. So in my opinion, ladies and gents, I probably wouldn't use the Hardlight in PvP whatsoever, unless you're just going for a really fun game and you just want to try out something new and something that you haven't used before. But other than that, even if you're not even trying to be too serious, I probably still wouldn't take it into PvP. It's a decent weapon. I like the idea of cycling through different elements, so arc, solar and void, but in a PvP arena there's no real usage for that. You just want to down your enemy. It doesn't matter if you're shooting void bullets, solar bullets or arc bullets, and with the way that supers are now, it makes no difference whatsoever whether you match up the elemental types at all. Excuse me. So ladies and gents, my overall review, the Hardlight, is it worth it? Is it worth the grind? In my opinion, no. It's exactly where it was before the masterwork, before the catalyst, and it hasn't really progressed in any way. The bump to stability is noticeable, but it's not significant enough for me to warrant using this weapon over a legendary option, never mind an exotic option. But ladies and gents, those are my opinions. What are yours? Please get at me in the comment section below, and as always, if you do like this content, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.
Every battle has a consequence. Sometimes we lose.